Free food, that's what my boyfriend saved me as in his phone while telling me he wasn't ready for labels. I thought we were just taking things slow. When I saw it pop up on his phone, I ordered the most expensive bottle of wine on the menu, excused myself to the bathroom, and never came back. Y'all, I seriously can't believe I'm even saying this out loud, because if you had asked me 2 months ago, I would have told you I was dating someone emotionally mature, introspective, just working through stuff. Now I look back and realize I was dating a walking green flag painted over red, like he was basically a human traffic violation, and I ignored every sign. Let me rewind. I met Elias in line at a juice bar. Yes, a juice bar. He turned around while I was trying to decide between an overpriced acai bowl or a sad green smoothie. He smiled and said, "You look like a dragon fruit kind of girl. Corny but cute." We chatted. He was charming, super laid back, that kind of sleepy hot energy, like the guy you imagine listens to vinyls, writes poems on receipts, and has 5 unread self-help books next to his bed. And he had the scruffy jawline to match. We exchanged numbers. He texted me that same night. Our first date was fine. Not fireworks, but chill. We met at this Korean-Mexican fusion spot I'd been wanting to try, and he let me talk about work, my dog, my weird obsession with early 2000s rom-coms, all of it. He didn't talk much about himself, but I just figured he was shy. When the bill came, I offered to split. He hesitated, smiled and said, "If I let you pay, will I still get a second date?" And I didn't mind. I'm not one of those if he doesn't pay, he's trash people. I genuinely thought he was being playful. I paid, and I still texted him goodnight. Date number 2 was drinks. I picked a cute rooftop spot. He showed up late, but he said he was helping his friend move. No big deal. He looked flustered and cute in that I definitely didn't shower but tried anyway way. We laughed. We kissed at the end of the night. He didn't offer to split the tab that time. Just thanked me and kissed my cheek like a Hallmark character or something. And again, I didn't mind. 'Cause I liked him. I really liked him. You know that vibe where someone just gets your sarcasm? That's what I thought we had. And here's where it got blurry. We didn't define the relationship right away. And I was okay with that at first. We were texting, seeing each other once or twice a week, getting food, going on walks. He'd crash at my place sometimes. We even watched The Holiday together in March, which in my mind is basically emotional intimacy. But whenever I tried to talk about us, even casually, he'd brush it off. Like I'd say, "So what are we doing here?" And he'd be like, "I'm just really enjoying getting to know you and I don't want to ruin that by forcing labels." Girl, in the moment that sounded emotionally intelligent. But now I know that was code for, "I want boyfriend perks without actually being your boyfriend." The thing is, I wanted to believe him. He'd say things like, "You're seriously the chillest girl I've ever dated. No pressure, right? We're just vibing. I love how low maintenance you are." And I thought, okay, maybe this is just modern dating. Maybe we are just taking it slow. But the pattern kept repeating. We'd always go to places I suggested. I was always the one reserving tables, picking spots, calling Ubers. He never offered to cover a meal, not even once. I paid for everything. Coffee runs, brunch, Trader Joe's snack hauls when he randomly showed up on Sundays. And yeah, I could afford it. That's not the issue. The issue was, I didn't feel appreciated. I felt like a walking tap to pay. But every time I got close to confronting him, he'd distract me. Like say something sweet, rub my back, talk about how bad his ex messed him up and how he just needs someone patient. He'd weaponize vulnerability like a pro, and I fell for it. I let weeks go by. Still no label. Still no offer to pay for anything. Still dodging every "where is this going" conversation. Until one night we were out at this fancy Italian place, my treat of course, and I saw his phone buzz across the table. And that's when I saw it. The name on the lock screen. Free food. Y'all, I blinked so hard I almost rebooted. Just imagine I'm sitting there, this moody little upscale Italian spot, right? Candles flickering, string quartet music playing softly through the speakers, people around us swirling their wine glasses like they know what tannins are. And his phone is just lying there on the table, lit up, and the contact name says, "Free food." Not babe. Not my actual name. Not even something casual like Sarah. I didn't even react right away. My body just froze. Like my brain tried to rationalize it first. Oh, maybe it's a nickname from a group chat? Maybe it's some inside joke I forgot? No, there was no mistaking it. His wallpaper was the one I helped him pick. His lock screen font was the weird custom one he downloaded on some sketchy third-party app. It was his phone, his text screen, and I was free food. He didn't notice me looking. He was busy reaching for the bread basket, the one he never once offered to split the cost of. I stared at him while he dipped the bread into olive oil like nothing was wrong, and in that exact moment, everything inside me flipped. Like, I wasn't sad. I was done. This weird fog I'd been under, gone. Like my body had been trying to wake me up for weeks, and that lock screen finally smacked the snooze button out of my hand. So I smiled, nodded, and calmly waved the waiter over. I asked for the most expensive bottle of red on the menu. "Bring the full bottle," I said. Elias raised an eyebrow, all confused. "Since when do you drink red?" I smiled sweetly. "I'm just in the mood for something rich." He laughed, thought it was cute, didn't suspect a thing. I watched him eat, savor his pasta, brag about how he was thinking about maybe launching a podcast soon. I let him talk, nodded along, took a few sips of wine, and then, halfway through his rant about how no one gets the pressure men are under these days, I excused myself to the bathroom, walked past the hostess, out the front door, and straight into my Uber that I had scheduled while he was telling me about his Spotify playlist algorithm. The best part? I left the check, full bill, wine included. I didn't block him right away. I wanted to watch what would happen. So when I got home, I curled up with popcorn and waited. And sure enough, 17 minutes later, my phone blew up. Where did you go? Are you okay? Did something happen? Wait, are you mad about something? Then finally, why did you order that bottle if you weren't going to drink it? That crap was expensive. Bingo. That was the moment I knew everything I needed to know about him. But I wasn't done. I didn't answer. Instead, I posted a cute little Instagram story. Sometimes you realize you were dating someone's dinner budget. He saw it. I watched the views roll in. Then boom, radio silence. Guess he realized I wasn't going to feed him anymore. Now, here's where people usually say, and that was it. But not me. Because a few days later, I found out that I wasn't the only one in his phone with a humiliating nickname. So I thought I'd handled it, right? I walked out like a queen, left him with the bill, made my lil shady Instagram story, checked the box, moved on. Or so I thought. Because 2 days later, I get a message request on Instagram from someone I don't know, private account, just the name Jay and a DM that said, "Hey, I think we need to talk. Did you used to date Elias?" First, I was like, is this a scam? A troll? Someone looking for drama? But something about the tone was different. It didn't feel aggressive or messy. It felt tired. So I replied, "Yeah, I guess you could say that. Why?" And y'all, the messages that followed? Plot twist incoming. Jay wasn't just a random. She was another girl Elias had been seeing. Like full-on parallel relationship. Dinners, cuddles, late-night convos, the whole thing. They'd met at a networking mixer. Started hooking up casually. Then she started catching feelings. Sound familiar? But get this. He was telling her the exact same things he told me. "I'm not ready for labels. You're so easy to be around. I've never met someone so chill." Like copy-paste level word for word. I honestly wouldn't have believed it if she hadn't sent screenshots. And when she did, I froze. Because in one of the messages, there was a screen recording from his phone scrolling through his contact list. And there, plain as day, were names like Free Food, which is me, Uber Mom, someone who apparently drove him places, Late Night Backup, Gym Pass, and Jay. Jay was saved as Therapy Girl. I don't know what broke my brain more, the nicknames or the fact that he had systematized his entire dating life like a loyalty rewards program. Jay and I FaceTimed. We swapped stories, compared timelines. It turns out there was even a third girl she knew about, one he met through his gym sauna area who he saved as Snack Plug. Like, you cannot make this stuff up. This man was out here building a harem based on what discounts he could squeeze out of women. I swear I almost choked on my LaCroix when Jay said, he once asked me if I had a Costco membership. Ma'am, no. At this point, we weren't even sad. We were in disbelief. Jay and I started joking like we were survivors of the same cult. She goes, honestly, we should make a group chat. I was like, say less. So we did. We called it the Elias Loyalty Program. And within 24 hours, it had 5 girls. You hear? 5. All with their own code names. All with receipts. All done with his crap. One of them had actually lent him money. Another had bought him sneakers as a birthday gift. Even though his birthday turned out to be a lie. Yup, he lied about his birthday so he could double up on presents. Every girl had a version of the same story. He just needed space. He wasn't ready for anything serious. He was so sweet at first. He'd love bomb just enough to keep you close, but never enough to commit. And he never paid for anything. Jay and I decided we weren't gonna let it go. We just wanted to warn people. So she made a TikTok. Just a vague story time. And it blew up. Over 300K views in 2 days. And guess who saw it? Elias. He texted Jay first. Then me. Then 2 other girls in the group chat. Suddenly, he was Mr. Accountability. I've been going through a lot lately. This isn't who I really am. You're all twisting things. Can we please talk privately? No, sir. We cannot. 'Cause the truth was already out. And we weren't the ones twisting it. Okay, buckle up, because this is where things get so painfully awkward I almost had to pause and breathe through it like I was in labor. So after the TikTok popped off, Elias went into damage control mode. But not like honest, accountable damage control. More like, let me center myself in the narrative and try to make people feel bad for me type of damage control. He posted a Notes app apology on his Instagram story. You heard that right. A Notes app. In 2025. With a blurry sunset background and everything. And let me just read you some actual lines from this digital dumpster fire because I took screenshots and I'm never deleting them. I want to take a moment to address the recent negativity circulating online regarding my personal life. Sir, we are not TMZ. You're not Leonardo DiCaprio. Calm down. I've always struggled with emotional connection and sometimes I express affection in ways that don't always land right. Huh? Like saving someone as free food in your phone? If I've hurt anyone, no, it wasn't intentional. I'm a work in progress, just trying to figure things out in a tough world. Wasn't intentional? Bro, you created a whole menu of women like we were apps on your phone. But wait, it gets worse. Because right after the paragraph about emotional immaturity, he writes, "That said, I want to set the record straight. I never dated anyone for free stuff." And then he proceeds to list all the things he did for us. I gave rides. I cooked dinner sometimes. I was emotionally available. I wasn't just taking, I gave too. Y'all, he included bullet points. Like this was a performance review. Drove Sarah to her doctor's appointment that one time. Gave Jay advice during her job hunt. Made grilled cheese for Mia when she was sick. This man really thought that because he put a Kraft single on Wonder Bread one time, it canceled out a year of freeloading. The best part? His mutuals started DMing us. People we didn't even follow were sending us messages like, "Wait, are you Uber Mom? Girl, I'm so sorry you dealt with that. Is this the guy who pretended to be lactose intolerant just to avoid splitting dessert?" Yes, it is. The whole thing backfired so spectacularly that by the next day, he had to take it down. But not before someone screen recorded it and added a dramatic voiceover which got reposted on TikTok with the title, "When the man-child thinks accountability means listing his emotional labor." It hit 600K in 24 hours. And here's the twist. One of the girls from the group chat, Mia, she got contacted by a real podcast. A decently big one. They do storytime content, dating red flags, stuff like that. And they asked if she'd be open to telling the story anonymously, with voice modulation. She was like, bet. But then she asked the rest of us, should we do it together? And that's how I ended up sitting in a studio, across from two of Elias' other exes, sipping matcha lattes and telling the entire internet how one man created a dating pyramid scheme with nicknames and grilled cheese. The episode dropped a week later. It was titled, "I was saved in his phone as free food. A group chat of exes exposes the pettiest player ever." And yes, it went viral. We laughed, we cried, we dragged, we healed. It wasn't about ruining him, it was about reclaiming the narrative he tried to control. And for once, we had the mic. So let's talk about what closure actually looks like. Spoiler, it's not always dramatic. It's not always some big confrontation in a parking lot under the rain while emotional music swells in the background. Sometimes it's a stupid little Instagram DM at 1:37 a.m. and a decision not to answer it. So the podcast episode goes live and it's getting traction. Not like global scandal viral, but enough. I got a ton of new followers. A few brands even reached out. One wanted me to do a collab post about emotional self-worth with their candle line. I said yes, by the way, the lavender sage scent slaps. My DMs were full of girls saying, "Thank you for telling this story. I dated someone like that too." Some even recognized Elias and were like, "Wait, is this the guy who used to lie about having food allergies to get out of paying for meals?" Yup, that was his thing. I'm allergic to gluten, then eats an entire baguette when someone else covers the check. Anyway, the buzz dies down. Life gets quiet again. And then one night, like I said, 1:37 a.m., I get a DM from him. I saw the episode. Was that really necessary? I stared at my phone. Didn't blink. Was that necessary? Sir, was it necessary to save me as free food while taking advantage of 5 different women and offering grilled cheese as your version of affection? But I didn't respond, 'cause silence in that moment was louder than anything I could have said. But wait, that's not the part that made me almost fall off my couch. That came a week later. I'm scrolling through IG, minding my business, when I see a story reposted by someone I follow from college. It's a screenshot of a Hinge profile. Guess who's back on the apps? Yup, Elias. But that's not the funny part. His new profile bio said, "Just looking for someone who believes in second chances." And his prompt answer? "My love language is sharing food. Sharing food." I dropped my phone, face first into my popcorn. Jay saw it too. She sent a screenshot to the group chat and said, "Should we invite him to our next potluck?" We lost it. Not because it hurt, but because it was so deeply unserious. Like, bro, at least change your strategy. But that's when I realized some people never change. They just repackage the same crap in new fonts. And I wasn't mad. I was just done. Here's the thing I learned through all of this. When someone tells you they're not ready for labels, believe them. But also ask yourself, are they not ready for a label or just not ready to treat you like a human being with value? 'Cause there's a difference. One is growth. The other is straight-up manipulation with a side of Parmesan fries. And me? I'm done being anyone's free appetizer. Okay, so after the podcast dropped, after the last DM, after the Hinge bio meltdown where Elias basically announced to the world that he now loves sharing food, the irony should be illegal, I hit a weird emotional wall. Like all the chaos had passed, and now I was just sitting there in the quiet with a fork in one hand and my sense of self-worth in the other. And I remember thinking, okay, now what? So I did the thing I always do when I feel lost. I deep cleaned my apartment. I'm talking full-on deep clean, vacuumed the ceiling corners, color-coded my sock drawer, took everything out of the fridge and wiped the jars like I was filming a cleaning TikTok for no audience. And while I was pulling a rogue sock from behind the dryer, I realized something kinda wild. I wasn't trying to erase Elias. I was making room for myself, for my peace, my priorities, my dinner budget, my space. I've been operating on make room for him mode for so long that I forgot what it felt like to build a space just for me. And here's where the plot gently twisted in a way I didn't see coming. So remember how I said I met Elias at a juice bar? Well, a few weeks post-podcast, I went back there, not because I was feeling nostalgic, but because they had a seasonal mango chia thing I was straight up addicted to. I walk in, earbuds in, AirPods set to leave me alone mode, and guess who's behind the counter? Miles. No, not another ex. Miles was the barista who saw Elias and me meet that day. He looks up, recognizes me, and kinda smiles. I smile back, mostly out of awkward politeness. He rings me up, makes my drink, and then, right before I leave, he says, "Glad to see you back. Didn't seem like you were having fun last time." I blink. "You remember that?" He nods, real casual. "Yeah, I remember thinking the guy you were with didn't even ask what you wanted before ordering." I straight up froze. 'Cause yeah, Elias had done that. Just ordered for me without asking. I'd brushed it off at the time. But Miles remembered. Long story short, we talked. He asked about the podcast. Yes, he saw it. He said, "I had a feeling it was about him." Then added, "I'm really glad you got out of that." We swapped stories and eventually numbers. No pressure. No love bombing. Just two people vibing over overpriced juice and mutual respect. And you know what? We've been hanging out since. Not in a swept-off-my-feet kind of way, more like a soft landing. Kind of thing where someone says, "Text me when you get home," and actually means it. So I'm thinking I've seen the last of him. Like the group chat's gone quiet, the podcast hype faded. I blocked him everywhere except email, which I only kept open in case he pulled something legally sketchy. I was healing, doing my little smoothie runs, watching New Girl reruns with my phone on Do Not Disturb, fully in my post-Elias pre-glow-up soft life era. And then he showed up, in person. It happened on a random Saturday. I was at this local arts festival with Jay, yes, that Jay, who had become one of my closest friends after all this. Plot twist I didn't see coming, but I'm grateful for it every day. We were just vibing, walking through booths, sipping lemonade, trying on rings from some small vendor, and talking about whether we should start that book club we kept pretending we'd start. And then I heard someone say my name. I turned, and there he was, Elias, wearing one of those faded vintage band shirts from Urban Outfitters, hair slightly greasier than I remembered, holding a smoothie, looking like someone who still listens to Joe Rogan ironically. Jay immediately stiffened. I could feel her whole body go into "don't start none, won't be none" mode. But I just stared, because seeing him in real life after everything, through the DMs, the podcast, the group chat, the notes app apology, he looked small. Not physically, like emotionally. He had the sheepish, slouched, shrinking energy. And he goes, "Hey, can we talk?" I didn't say anything, just raised an eyebrow. I didn't expect you to go public. There it is. Not sorry for how I treated you. Not I've been doing some thinking. Just, I didn't expect you to tell people. I looked at Jay. She looked at me. I took a breath and said, "You didn't expect consequences." He blinked, stammered, "I'm not the villain here. You could have come to me. You didn't have to embarrass me online." I calmly said, "You embarrassed yourself the second you reduced a human being to a meal plan. You don't get to play confused now." He looked stunned, like he genuinely expected me to crumble, or at least soften, but I didn't. Jay stepped in and added, "You didn't just treat her that way, Elias. You treated all of us like we were side quests." He didn't even argue. He just sighed, looked around like someone might be recording, and walked away. That was the real closure. Seeing him try one last time, and realizing it had no effect on me. I turned back to Jay and said, "You still down for Thai food later?" Like nothing had happened. 'Cause honestly, nothing had happened. Not anymore. He was a story I told. A lesson I learned. A file I closed. And that moment proved it. You ever have one of those nights where the silence is so loud it actually feels warm? Like it wraps around you and whispers, "Hey, you actually made it." That was me. 1 month after that final Elias pop-up, sitting on my couch in my favorite hoodie, half watching old episodes of Kitchen Nightmares with a tub of chocolate oat milk ice cream in my lap. And for the first time in forever, I didn't feel like I was waiting for the other shoe to drop. I grabbed my notebook, the one I used to write down all my feelings when Elias had me in mental gymnastics mode, and instead of ranting this time, I made a list of what I gained. And I want to share it with you. My self-respect. My money. Clean dining table. A friend I never expected, shout out Jay. A quiet apartment where no one asks me to Venmo them for oat milk. A new understanding of boundaries. The power to walk away without explaining myself. A whole new level of emotional intelligence. Space to meet people who actually show up. The ability to laugh at the mess and not live in it. That list did something to me. 'Cause it reminded me that healing doesn't always look like yoga and matcha and deleting people's numbers in a dramatic flurry. Sometimes it looks like choosing yourself over and over and over, until it doesn't feel like a choice anymore, just your default setting. And that doesn't mean I'm not scared to trust again. It means that next time I'll recognize what real effort looks like. Next time, I won't need to wait for a red flag to smack me in the face because I'll already be gone the second someone starts playing broke when the bill comes. Next time, I'll say what I need, and if that's too much, then they're not enough. So yeah, if you're ever sitting across from someone who's charming, funny, emotionally deep, and somehow always forgetting their wallet, check their phone. But also check your gut. Alright, thanks for listening, guys. I'm out.